Hello and welcome to the video. So there's two topics I want to run through here, and those are basically the roles and positions that we take in the narcissistic super self, particularly in like a familiar environment. So there's an aspect of enmeshment, and there's another aspect of the scapegoat. So the point with enmeshment is that as you're trying, or as you are individuating and being your own person and individual, the enmeshment process with the narcissistic family will be that they will encroach on this is you as a person, this is them as a person, or the super self. It will encroach on your emotions and your mind and your ideas and your cognitions. It will encroach on it so that now you are part of the superstructure. You aren't your own individual who can understand something, who can observe something, who can come up with their own ideas and have their own thoughts. You every time you interact with them, you become enmeshed and you start to lose yourself as you start to get integrated back into that super system, which takes away your individuality and replaces it for whatever the case may be, slogans, familial values and stuff like that, whatever. And so that's the enmeshment aspect. So when you are becoming you, when you are, not enmeshing in whatever way that you're not enmeshing, you have become at that point a rebellious part. When you're in the process of, leaving, you've become a rebellious part of the super self. And when you are in this rebellious aspect of the super self, that is now your role, right? You are separating from something you shouldn't be separating from, according to their perspective, and therefore you are not a lesser individual. You are just rebellious and need to be stepped back in line through whatever means. And so I imagine that these characters that continue to do this, all of us will do this at some point, but obviously, because that's our natural progression as humans, is to be ourselves. You will hit the scapegoat. And so the scapegoat, which is the second part of this of these roles that you can play in these families, is a member who is blamed and mistreated to maintain the dysfunctional balance. No one believes the scapegoat because their truths challenge the family's malignant normalcy, which is toxic but accepted by all. So there is no faith and belief in this because it's separating from what is known and what is good. You got to imagine these people that are growing up, it's all they know. Much likened to a cult system, and so this is the type of abuse, and this is the type of reactions that the scapegoat will have. So you'll have character assassination, where the scapegoat's integrity and motives are attacked. Protection of the status quo. Keeping the scapegoat allows the family to avoid facing their own issues. So actually, you would play quite a vital role, and we can imagine that families would always have some kind of a scapegoat. So they can always just put all bad ideas onto that scapegoat, and it's just and then assassinate their integrity and character, and so they never have to face those ideas, which may or may not be true, and it's just more pushing of the fact that if you individuate and if you stray from the system and stray from the status quo, then you will be abused and it's wrong, and they put that mentality in there so that you never ever develop fully and so that you're always part of the system. So you may feel that you are being treated as a less than and as a worser, and then be upset about that, but in reality you are just part and a cog of the system, and if you are truly actually individuating, in that process you will be scapegoated, and then you will be seen forever as the scapegoat, even if you've divorced yourself from that system. But during that whole process, until you've actually healed and become, during that whole process, you will be feeling like you are being treated differently and worse than and less than, and but really it's just part of how the system operates. They're not really treating you worse than less than. There will always be a scapegoat because there will always have to be an enemy kind of locust where they can direct all the animosity towards being your own person, and that they can then not have to approach any of the beliefs that are going on and any of the abuses that are going on, because simply you have now, while in the system, become an enemy of the system, so that the system can then just, that's the whole element of the scapegoatness, dump its irreconcilable parts into. So that is the element of as well, that you are kind of interchangeable. You're not really important. You're not really a thing. You're not really a person. You are just a scapegoat, and once you have left, there will be another scapegoat in your place. An example from my family is my granddad, who joined the family late, funnily enough, joined it first but also last. He has just become just a clone of me when I was in that place, just computer addicted, and it's really quite interesting to see. And also the one who's called sick and is called crazy, and he's given all these pills, given all these care, given all this, because they will gather up all the illness and sickness and death and put it into one, and then basically fling it out, which is the root of the scapegoat, which comes from Jewish tradition, or a Jewish tradition. And actually Jesus Christ was the scapegoat, if we're looking at Hebrew and Christian kind of study. So yeah, look what happened to him. So if you're going to keep going in this scapegoatness and becoming your own person and actually doing God's plan for you, well, Jesus Christ did God's plan for him, and look how that turned out. So you can expect a lot of lacerations and a lot of abuse, but people will understand you, people will follow you, people will root for you. You are doing God's work, and you will be highly honored. So yeah, that are the two things I wanted to mention. Enmeshment, where you can't really be you while you're around them, so that's why you got to no contact, so you can actually be you. When you actually go in there to reach them, it's very difficult, because you will get enmeshed again. And when you do get in there, everything you have to say is basically useless, as much as it will be tarnished, because you're being enmeshed. They will not learn, and you will just enter the scapegoat mentality until you individuate. And at that point, well, it doesn't really matter what was said. But the best you can hope for is that it's there in writing, and they can, if they ever get some spark of introspection, they can go back to it and examine themselves. So yeah, 2 points, and it's just to evaluate and to finalize the understanding that you're not really a lesser, you're part of this super self, and you are taking a role in the super self, or you have left the super self and you've left it by being you, a person as you were supposed to be. So you've got two options. You can be the scapegoat and abused in the system in your process of leaving, or you can be left and you can be you, and your memory will always be the scapegoated ridiculous person, and there's no real way around it unless you want to go full ham and go straight into it, like you're the boss of the pulling the charge. But you can't really do that once you've tasted what it is to be you, and what God has designed you to be. To go back is just can't be done. So yeah, good luck to all, and let me know about any enmeshments kind of experiences that might have happened that comes to mind. All right, peace.